Do you feel the vibes?
Welcome to Crypto Talks, the podcast that features the early adopters of the blockchain and cryptocurrency world. It's me, Ani Alexander, and I will uncover the stories of the humans behind the crypto and introduce you to new and exciting blockchain projects. Are you ready for the journey down the rabbit hole? Hey there everyone, and welcome to the Crypto Talks podcast. Today I'm talking to Scott Pratt. I met him at the BABB community and later on at the Bax Hodlers Party in person. So we've met once, and apparently, I'm picking people who are not standard and ordinary, and I think Scott completely fits into this description. So, Scott, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Annie. It's great to be here.
So, I don't know much about you, so I will leave the intro to you. Introduce yourself and tell what exactly are you doing.
Right, well, I'm Scott from Manchester. I'm actually an electrician by trade. We got into cryptocurrency last year. Started building a business, a few social channels. We're looking at building a shop for online merchandise, and we've invested in a few cryptocurrencies as well. So yeah, it's going well. It's going better than we ever thought.
Okay, so in that case, we have to start from the very beginning and understand how did an electrician find out about crypto, and where was the first time you heard about it, and what happened next?
Well, to be honest, I'm a bit of a geek as it happens, so I'm always searching into new techs, new sciences. But it was last year we was doing a little bit of forex trading on the side on 212 with the dummy accounts and building up to learn to trade. And on the other hand, we've been getting an inkling for a while, me and my friend, that social media it's not done, it's not finished, especially we know DApps and Web 3.0, we know even more now. But even last year I was getting the inkling that like you say yourself, documenting the journey, people becoming a lot more interested in it. So we started building Instagram pages, just about random stuff, about animals, about life hacks, you name it. We started building pages with a couple of hundred followers. And then all of a sudden one day I'm in work and my mate rings me up and he's like, look, I think we should ditch the Instagram. So I'm like, why? He's like, XRP, he'd heard of Ripple. He'd become a little bit fixated on buying some Ripple. So he's like, just have a look at it. Spend half an hour to an hour seeing what you think. And that was it. Then it didn't take long for me to look at what Ripple was doing and then look more about what blockchain technology was about. Like I say, the geek in me just took over. I was on Google for a day and that was it then. We was looking for money to invest.
Okay, so
a
just
complete paradigm shift from the directions we was taking within a month.
So just a day, it took you just a day of Googling and you were, it was an easy learning curve from you?
For me, yeah. I just feel like we've missed so many boats with the technology that's come about. You heard about early adopters and early investors in stuff like Google, Twitter, Facebook. There's kids out there, there's going to be kids out there at 8, 9, 10. They don't realise how young Facebook is. They don't realise how young this platform we're speaking over now is. They don't realise that I'm only 33. And when I was in school, we barely had Windows on the computers. They don't realise how fast that technological jump was.
Yeah.
From the computers coming out to social media being used by 2 billion people a day.
That's true.
And blockchain technology jump's going to be even faster. I saw it immediately. Yeah. With the banking system, with BABB and yourself, what you are trying to do, it's that the whole 5-day delay on payments, the fact that I could open my banking now on my laptop, send some money to China, go to the airport and beat the money to China on a plane. That's not right when you're sending the money electronically. Yeah. It just isn't. It's not. So yeah, I was straight in, no hesitation.
Okay, so let's follow your journey. So it took you one day to Google and understand how the technology works. You went and straight away and started investing. Is that it?
Yeah, we bought some XRP.
Okay, so how did you decide? How did you end up deciding what to buy first? Because once you get in there, there's so many coins out there.
Yeah.
So what happened next? So you got the technology figured out. You believed in it. You decided to invest in it. What did you do next?
We instantly went for the one that grabbed our attention, the one that appealed the most, which was the banking. There's not a lot of people realize the problem that the banking system has on a business scale. Mm-hmm. People with small overdrafts will be buying on Amazon and then wondering where the money's going for 3 days. Mm-hmm. And it's 60, 70, 80 pound that they've seen disappear, and they don't know where it is yet because it's processing.
Yeah.
They can't imagine that being $100 million mm-hmm. or 80 million pounds that's processing over 5 days. There's trillions trapped in the banking system, and the likes of XRP and yourselves down the road, they'll release that money, which will then just put it into economies. It was. We heard of it was the partnership. I think it was Santander. Mm-hmm. We heard it was talking to Santander, and Santander started testing it at the time. That's all we needed to hear. Banks were in it, and we went with XRP for the banking one. We'd not heard of you at this time. It was just XRP and we was in.
Okay, clear. So, what it has been for you so far? Did it change? I mean, many people tell me that once they get into crypto, it completely changes their mindset, and it completely changes the way they look at money and the way they perceive the whole thing around themselves. So did you have any paradigm shifts, any global changes, any viewpoint differences from the point you actually invested in crypto?
I think it did, yeah. I think not only did it make me realise how easy it still is to make money off technology and new technologies, but more than anything, it just, I suppose it opens your eyes a little bit to where the world's going. I always try, and with growing up in the 90s, in the 80s and the 90s, I remember my VHS player, mm-hmm. and the remote had a wire.
I do so too.
The remote had a wire. It's on the floor, a meter away from the VHS player. You're having to get up to press the remote. You might as well have just pressed the player. Yeah. That wire got removed by technology. Then the wires behind the TV, they're now slowly disappearing. SCART and this and that and what was it? You had like AVG and an audio jack, and then it was SCART lead and an HDMI, and the wires will go eventually. Samsung phone charges without wires. Now my watch, Samsung watch that charges without wires. The wires are disappearing from things, and I think over the next decade to 20 years, you're going to see the frames of everything will just disappear. The way people live life's going to be disappear. There's going to be a lot of contracts made, not with a pen, but with simply a handshake by two people with chips in their hand. And that's going to secure the smart contract through blockchain. And some people have got no idea how much the world's about to change. It's unbelievable. Like I say, the geek in us just saw it straight away. We've been watching Star Trek. You always think of Picard. Oh, there's no more money left on Earth. We don't have money anymore. Can't remember the words. We have digital credits, he called them, and that was back in the 80s. And it's basically, he just described cryptocurrency on Star Trek 30 years ago. Yeah. Without really understanding what it is. It's a natural progression. It's a universal currency. That's not just a currency. This is another thing as well, that once you look into it a little bit, it's not just Bax. Oh, you bought some Bax, you can go and spend Bax. There's a technology behind it. There's an idea. There's a vision. Yeah. There's a lot more behind the currencies, and that's what gets me about it. Talking about vision changes. I don't trust mainstream media anymore with anything.
Oh yeah.
Simply because I know.
I don't consume
all these technologies.
Either. Yeah, I don't consume it.
If they can lie about or mislead, should we say? Yeah. If they can mislead about crypto so easily, what else have they? I just don't trust it. Don't trust mainstream anymore.
About
Simply
anything,
because of that.
not only crypto, about anything.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Okay, so it's interesting you mentioned that because many people, now more and more people are learning about crypto and getting into it because it looks and sounds so attractive. But many people go there because, let's be fair, because of the money, because they think that it's a place, when Lambo, when, Moon and investment that will just, take them into this bright future in just a couple of days and all that stuff. So that's what many people are thinking about while getting into it, and you're talking about vision, you're talking about technology. So you really had this deep dive during the Google search of one day where you realized the real foundation behind it.
Yeah.
So which takes me to a point that was it easy to find like-minded people, and do you actually think that it is important to be in a community of like-minded people who are into crypto?
Yeah, I think it is, because like we say, with the mainstream media and all the FUD that's about, and everyone's trying to spread fear. People will argue prices are being manipulated while institutional investors come in. They'll say all sorts at the moment. And some people will get scared off, I feel, not just at the moment over the next year, but over the coming years. And then people just, you've just got to have belief in it, I suppose. I had belief from the start, and I always will. It's giving it time. We mentioned to our friends about the technology, and it's interesting now that we're getting onto this, because in November and December, when prices were flying up, it was all knocking at the door. What's this blockchain? What's this blockchain? So we explained it a little bit, and a few of them bought some, and the prices went down. They're not still there asking about the technology. They're not still, when's BABB coming out? When's this bank? Everyone's a bank. When's this?
Yeah.
Like there's getting onto a few more that we bought, like with TRX in EOS, the content creation, like Steam It. You've done a podcast yourself on Steam It, and it's really, really interesting platform. These dApps coming out, it's all you have to do is take a little delve into the technology, and it's plain to see it's where it's heading. It really is.
So are you trading often, or what is your trading habit? Are you more towards holding the coins that you believe in, or are you actually following the waves and taking advantage of the volatility? What's your approach about this?
At the moment, I'd say I'm personally about 80-20, 80% to 20. So I've got 80% of my holdings are in long term that I won't be trading. And I've got another about 20% that I'm willing to trade a little bit. Me, at the moment, personally, I've been putting more work into the content creation side with the YouTube channel and getting the shop and possible merchandise up and going to do some T-shirts and get an online store going.
Okay.
So,
it's good you mentioned that, because, the YouTube channel is called...
Love for Crypto. Love for Crypto,
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that you mentioned the content creation, because we just discussed this before we hit the record button about the types of content that we are having in that field, and it's either news or analysis, introducing new tokens that are coming out. And yours seems to be, most of them are quite neutral, let's be honest. Neutral in a sense that it's dedicated to the topic. Your channel really shows your personality as well. So it's sort of, it feels like it's a personal brand rather than just a neutral topic. Did you choose that on purpose?
And I'm glad you've said that, because we was actually aiming and hoping for that feel, to be honest. We don't want to feel like we seem like these wooden stiffs behind a screen talking about numbers and charts, like you say, or never get my face out there. I want to be myself. I mean, I leave leave mistakes in videos now and then, just to show them. Just to show them that we're not all perfect. It takes me a good couple of hours to edit a video sometimes. But yeah, it's all about being personal for us, and we will share more of our journey as we go forward. I've been taking pictures of the press, like the heat press for t-shirts and the box of t-shirts arriving, and we've been snapping pictures and little clips of them. So when all that's gone and we finally send the first t-shirt off to Amazon or wherever we decide to sell them, we'll put a little video on then documenting that journey. So yeah, we're big on documentation at the moment, and not just sharing news about cryptocurrencies or, like you say, new coins, but also throwing our opinion down on it as well, and our personality on the brand, as you say.
So let's talk about, I mean, obviously every content creator eventually with the time gets an audience that resonates with them, that likes the content and gathers around them. So you too also have your own community that is following your channel. Are there any trends? What kind of people are in the crypto community? Do you have any similarities? Is there something that differentiates them from other communities in social media, for example, compared to what you were doing on Instagram?
I don't know. I think with it being such a young technology, I think we're all still learning, aren't we? Like you mentioned, experts in blockchain. Is there any? A lot of people like to throw the term around, but unless you've created a blockchain yourself, I'm not sure how you can start saying you're an expert. Anyone can ERC20 token. Anyone can do that and go make a few tokens, but to actually make the platform, make the technology work, make it usable, and a good actual use case that suits a vision and project that can actually change the world, or at least change people's lives, then you're talking someone's an expert. Like I think there's too many people on too many pages for that matter, just shouting I'm an expert. Just it's a loose term that at the moment, I think. So
you mentioned changing lives, and so you getting into crypto last year. How did your life change during this year since you're there?
Dramatically. I can't be anywhere without him now. The phone. What was it? It was about 3 weeks. I think it was about 3 weeks after I first bought an XRP, and we discovered Binance, and I think we tried. I think Crypto Mate it was called. It was taking a few days to get the first coins, and then we found Coinbase. We bought some Bitcoin on that, got it over to Binance, and then before you know it, we had coins, and me and my mates like we got crypto, and then we met some people one day, and they're like, oh yeah, I do that. I buy that Bitcoin, do it on that 212. And we're like, well, you're kind of doing CFDs, mate. You don't own the cryptocurrency. And then it actually felt good to own some. And one day I left my phone in a toilet in a hospital. Didn't realise I'd done it. I must have walked an hour to the other side of the hospital. I was carried on working. And I'm just like, where's my phone? And I'm just thinking, shit. I'm back to the toilet, sprinting. I'm doing I didn't want the phone. I'm thinking, crypto, my XRP. Someone's going to have it. Got back, and someone had handed it in at the reception. So I was eternally grateful for that. But yeah, it's made me a little paranoid about losing my phones and private keys, I must admit. But it's exciting more than anything. The way it's changed my perspective of the future we're going to be living in and could possibly be living in 10 years. I mean, to think all the amount of people now that haven't got access to financial services are all of a sudden going to have access to financial services. The average people who have already got that, it's going to become extremely easier to use it and to trade with each other. I don't think people realise at the moment. People will talk about little segments of it, not realise it's all one big bubble. From digital passports, autonomous vehicles, you know what I mean, faster banking, virtual reality worlds where you're going to go and pay. You're going to pay cryptocurrency to put a VR headset on and go and walk about a world someone else has created. It's I'm not sure a lot of people aren't ready for it. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, very futuristic it sounds, but you mentioned.
Well, it is, isn't it? When you say it like that, it's like that's why half your mates just think, "Shut up." Half your mates are just like, "Shut up," and it's like, "Well, go to Google neurology." And
Yeah.
like, there's people controlling drones with the mind at the moment. The thinking, and the drone flies. They're not using a controller. Like I was talking about, the wires have gone. The controller's gone now. Do you know what I mean? The remote to life is that at the moment.
Yeah.
In 10 years' time, it's going to be that, and probably a little thing round your ear where it'll be, you can hear people, and you go to Japan and it gives you the Japanese, gives you the English as the Japanese person speaking Japanese. You're just going to be bish bash bosh.
Those already exist. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
you're going to be trading by shaking hands. You're going to, the BABB black card. The BABB black card will be released, and it's probably got a lifespan of 20 years before it goes into a chip for everyone who uses it. Do you know what I mean? The kids of today, any kid today or born after today is probably not going to want a wallet. They're not going to want a wallet with a driving license and this bank card and that bank card and that bank card. It's just going to be like, well, there's people in Europe with chips in their hand and the passport and everything's on there. Can't I just have that, Dad? Oh, Dad, it's a bit weird. See, it's a bit weird.
Creepy,
There's going to be a few generations that are not ready for that. There is. I mean, my own stepdad's only just started using online banking and that. You know, we're all seeing the banks close though. Banks on a lot of corners in Britain are closing, and everyone's being forced to online bank. And it'll only be a matter of time before blockchain forces its way in, and the new generation dictate which direction it goes. Then.
Yeah, makes sense.
Same with technology.
So you mentioned private keys and losing your phone and all that stuff, which reminded me, what was your biggest mistake you ever did in crypto?
Well, I was going to keep this a secret, but I bought Centra quite high. And anyone who follows the news might know what happened with the two co-founders recently. They was arrested. Price plummeted way more than it had plummeted. The interesting thing for me is it's now not a mistake, it was a lesson. And the biggest lesson about it was not just the fact that I went in a bad coin. That was a little bit of lack of research on my side. I saw a card that could be used at a near field connection point, and I just went for it. I was a little bit too in on that one. Yeah. But more than anything, it was the after winter dip to see it, and I'm thinking, oh, what's happening? I'd not been in it long, only several months. We was devastated. Price of everything's coming down. I was like, Jesus, what's happening? And then we looked back and realised it had happened for the previous 4 years, and it can't just keep going. It's why it's not a bubble. People talk about crypto being a bubble, and then they compare it to a 2-year bubble chart of like .com from 1998 to 2000 or something else over a year, and they're using a decade of Bitcoin. Using a decade of Bitcoin data, it's not, no bubble lasts a decade. It's gaining traction as it gains interest, and then it's simpler as the way the financial system is at the moment. The only way most people can spend any gains they get off Bitcoin is to cash it out into fiat. In cashing it out into fiat, they're going to devalue Bitcoin. If everyone was to do that at the end of the year, you're going to see what you saw. Do you know what I mean? You can forget all the talk about institutional investors manipulating it. People taking profits into fiat are going to drive the price down. It will happen every year. Do you know what I mean? I expect it to happen next January again. Next February, we'll see a peak, and then we'll see it dip again when people pull the money out. Now, in a decade or two, when it's mass adopted worldwide, and the price will start stabilizing, then I think all that will go away. I think we'll see them all stabilize at a certain value one day. The only big question is, what value is that?
Do you think the time will come where there will be no need to convert it to fiat, and you can just use it in the coins that you have straight away from your wallet?
Yeah, I'd put a decade to 20 years on that. I mean, I personally had put 20 years on the majority of the younger generation not wanting cash, having no need for hard cash at all, and it'd be all digital. And why would you want to use fiat digital when it takes 5 days? That's the harsh reality of it. Do you know what I mean? I mean, what do most people use cash for these days? Really, it's just still there, isn't it? It's not needed. It's just there.
So have you felt any difference? Like, you said you've been into crypto since a year already. So when you talk about it with people, like I'm not talking about people in crypto, like in general, when you talk to your friends or, from people who are not really into the field yet, do you see any difference in reaction from a year ago to when you speak about the topic today?
A little bit, yeah. A lot of people seem to feel like they've missed the boat. And even with it coming from 6,000 to 20,000, from 20,000 down to 6,000, I think it's at 6,700-ish now, innit? It's a lot of them got interested and then got scared, or they got burnt. They went in high and they've been burnt. They're scared, but them same people in 13 months could well be sat on double the money. They've just, like I say, you've got to... Sometimes I don't think it's even like standard stocks. People try and trade it. People try and compare it to like stocks and buying into an IPO. It's completely different, in my opinion. An IPO, you get shares, and the share price will roll on. You may get some dividends bonus off the IPO, but you'll very rarely get a say or be an active participant in where that business model's going off a small investment anyway. An ICO, it's completely different. You get coins given to you, you've invested in the business model, you've helped the company. Once the platform's online, you become an active participant, you become a customer again. You're an active user then within that business model. Like we talk about Ripple and XRP, Ripple could go away now. They could just disappear, boom, like that tomorrow, and their ledger, the Ripple ledger, would still work, still be maintained by the amount of nodes that are already on it, and the fact that it's now decentralized and it's scalable now. So you've just got to have belief that it's going to overcome all this fear, all this FUD. Everyone try to drive it down. Everyone thought it about Facebook. You'd have been people, no, I'm not getting on that Facebook. I'm staying on MySpace. How many months did that last? Do you know what I mean?
Really? Oh, okay. Interesting. So you mentioned that you share your opinions about the different coins and stuff like that during the while reviewing projects on your YouTube channel. So how comfortable do you feel giving advice for people who want to buy into new tokens?
If I was to give someone advice to buy into cryptocurrency, I'd tell them to stay in industries and trades or the financial sector. I wouldn't we had some friends coming up with lottery ones and gambling ones, casino ones, exchanges, those kind of. I'd stay away from any of them. I don't care how good the prospective video looks, the pictures, the website. I'd stay well away from anything I don't feel is going to change the world. Advise everyone to read the white paper and just to do your own research. All I can really do is tell people the coins I'm interested in and the ones I think are going to make it in the long run, and then tell them to go and have a little look at it themselves. Not much more we can do, really.
Yeah, well, it's good you mentioned the white paper, because many say that they are too lazy to read the white paper because most of them are quite lengthy.
Yeah.
But that gives... So what are your criteria when you are evaluating upcoming ICOs? What are you looking at, apart from the fact that you already mentioned that you are interested in projects that have social impact as a result?
Well, the main, there's only two things for me. It's that you've just said, and an interactive team. a team that interacts with its potential customers, that gives regular updates, that doesn't shy away from problems. They come out and confront them and give you updates on where it's going, what they're doing to rectify said problems. I don't like any ICO that stay a little bit tight-lipped or that don't show the faces of the people involved. I wouldn't trust them.
Yeah, it's hard to trust faceless teams. That's true.
Yeah, it is after Bit connect with them all on stage, laughing and joking about for a few months, and then you saw the crash that happened there. A lot of people got burnt. So we've just got to be careful how fast you go in. Like I said, with me with Centro, you're gonna live and learn, and you just have to hope that you haven't put too much money in when that happens. I was lucky. I only bought 50 Centro overpriced before it crashed because I only needed 50 for the card. Now, if I'd have gone a little bit more idiotic and bought a couple of hundred of them, or even worse, thousands, then it would have burnt me quite badly to the point where I may not have recovered. You know what I mean? There's people losing houses and getting in a hell of a lot of debt at the moment. They need to be careful. It's got to be money you're willing to throw away. Don't just put a full week's wage into it. Say £10 a week for 10 weeks and then put that £100 into a coin.
Yeah.
It take your time. I say take your time. It's going to happen that fast. There'll be a good couple of years yet, and you've just got to get on it before it goes. Really, do your research and get in with the coin that you believe in personally, that you have a personal passion for. You'll lose interest if you don't.
So the volatility, I mean, it's extremely volatile. So how are you dealing with the emotional roller coaster? Because I know some people that are trading and take it very, very personal, and it gets to them.
Yeah, it's why I've eased off the trading a little bit, to be honest. I'm not a fan of bear markets.
No one is.
I'm not. Well, there's some good traders out there who don't mind them. I'm not one of them. I'm not gonna blow my own trumpet in ways it shouldn't be blown. I'm not the best trader. Stay away from that as and when I can. Curtis, my business partner, he's a lot more focused when it comes to TA, and he's a lot more skilled and knowledgeable when it comes to the TA side of it. I'd be much more willing to give him me money than do it myself, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. But yeah, when there's a bull market, I'll put a little bit more in and I'll have another little look myself. But yeah, bear markets I stay away from, to be honest. They're too risky for me. I don't mind the volatility on the long run. Like on my long holds, it doesn't bother me because, like I say, I believe in the tech.
Yeah.
As long as you believe in the technology, like a lot of people believed in Amazon at the start. If you're listening or watching and you don't know the rough ride Amazon had to begin with how lax they was being on giving stuff away for free, and they was just going boom, and they was smashing money into Google ads. Do you know what I mean? And everyone's thinking, why buying Google ads? Why don't put TV ads? Amazon like, no, the people are going to Google for stuff now, and they got questioned, and there was a lot of doubt. Who's the biggest online retailer in the world now? Started with books.
Yeah.
It's Amazon books.
Yeah, just books.
It's madness. Some people don't know that. Some kids, the kids out there that don't know that. This is what I'm saying. They just do a little research into the past. It's repeating itself 3.0. It literally is. It's another rollover of technology. More if you're into your geeks and your science and your maths and Moore's law and the chip evolution over time.
Yeah.
It's I think we're going to see that turn to the next level with blockchain. It'll be even faster.
Yeah.
The way it adapts.
So before we wrap up, you sort of already made the futuristic forecast of where the technology is going to take us in terms of lifestyle and where things are going. What about where do you see yourself in about 5 years? What's your personal journey in this field?
To be honest, building the personal brand, the community, to be perfectly honest, getting more educated on blockchain technology myself, sharing that knowledge then with the growing community that we're working on growing, all while the fingers stay crossed about the investments and to see where the investments go. I'd love us to be in a big office in 5 years' time and loads of money coming in, but doesn't need to. As we can just learn the technology, help get word out about it at first, and then just take it one step at a time. Really, we're really enjoying what we're doing is the main thing. Whether it's a couple of little, I mean, we're mostly sharing news on Twitter. We're not being too personal on there. We are in comments. I mean, spoke to Annie on your page in the run up to the ICO and that a little bit, but with Instagram, we're throwing a little bit more personality on Instagram and on Facebook. Mm-hmm. So it's more about enjoying the journey for us and sharing that journey with other people, enlightening them to the way this technology is going, and it's not going to stop regardless of what BBC News said or what they saw on Sky News or read in the paper.
Yeah, true.
It's here to stay.
True, makes sense. So, well, I guess the logical finalization would be telling people where your YouTube channel is, where they can find you, and where they can follow you and become part of the community.
Yeah, well, it's the same name on every channel with the same brand name. So it's just Love for Crypto.
Love for Crypto.
At Love for Crypto on Instagram, Steam, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter.
Okay. I have to check the Steam thing. I haven't seen it on Steam yet, so we have to get connected there.
Well, we're quite young.
Already.
Quite young and late to the party, I felt, on Steam. I don't understand how it eluded me so long. Not just Steam, EOS. Kind of came out of nowhere. There were two things I didn't really look at, and then all of a sudden they're right there in front of my face. And yeah, so something I'm quite big on. I've already shared them with a couple of authors that I know is like great place for short stories.
Yeah.
If people write short stories, excellent how it works. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great place to be. I really enjoy being there. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, thank you very much for your time and for your interview.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. As you can see, I could ramble on all night, me, about blockchain technology.
I'm the same. That's why we have to stop.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
No problem, Annie. I've really enjoyed it. Thanks for having me.
This was the Crypto Talks podcast brought to you by Annie Alexander. If you'd like to engage with other crypto enthusiasts and podcast guests, please join the Crypto Talks community on Telegram at anniealexander.com/Telegram. And if you enjoyed the podcast, please take a minute to subscribe and leave a review. Thank you for listening, and we'll meet you in the next episode.
Do you feel the vibe?